Welcome everyone to the Real Whovians Cast episode 560. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Connor Farley. What's up, Connor?
Hello.
What's up, John?
Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, Mike?
Well, since Brian's not here and somebody's got to do it, what's that?
All right, what do you have, Connor?
Moffat said in a recent Doctor Who magazine that his episode 11 of the new series is going to be a leftover script and a revised version of a story that he was going to write for Big Finish.
Okay, do we know what it's about?
No, but it's interesting that he's using stuff from like his past writing. You know, it evidently shows that the dickhead is running out of ideas.
Oh, God.
Finally.
I thought you ran out of ideas when he did the Spoonhead, but wow.
Spoonhead.
All right, I also want to screen share something. You want to talk about this, Connor?
Oh yeah, that is the third Doctor Adventures Big Finish audio cover. Prisoners of the Lake and the Havoc of Empires. Yeah.
Wow.
Joe Grant and Mike Yates as the companions. And you've got Tim Trelaw as presumably John Pertwee.
Okay.
Third Doctor, yeah. I don't know what any of the stories are about, either of the audios.
Oh.
I don't know if they've released any synopses.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know
I
we
mean,
don't do audios really, but yeah, right.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was gonna ask Connor. I mean, are these Big Finish audios really like a big to do sort of thing for people to listen to? I mean, are they that good or? Because I haven't heard it.
I to listen to many of them. They're okay, you know. If you've got time. If you haven't, I wouldn't bother.
The only one I've listened to is I Davros, which was the story of Davros, and it was like a true it felt like episode 1, 2, and 3 if they hadn't sucked. It was like the story of it was Anakin, it was Davros as Anakin, really, this kind of guy who's been corrupted and by this epic Greek drama. It was great. I loved it, and the production value was great. So that one was great.
Who was doing Davros? Was that Terry Malloy?
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
So, yeah, eventually I guess we will do the audios. I haven't been a fan of audios, but I think I did one review about the trial of Valyard that I listened to.
Speaking of Davros, happy 40th birthday, Genesis of the Daleks.
There you go.
40 years old. My God.
Yeah.
So, that is awesome.
Without Genesis of the Daleks, we wouldn't have had Mr. Turdus.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, they finished 4 episodes or more so far?
4.
It's March and they finished 4. That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
And now they're going to
2
film
more this month.
2 more this month. 6. All right, we're on a good track.
We'll be done by about early August, I think. Maybe even earlier.
They're probably done in July.
We've got 6. We've got 2 done last month, 2 done this month.
Well, no, they'll probably be finished by probably by August.
2.
No, July. July they'll probably finish. Then they go to the convention. Maybe they'll do a tour again in August.
Yeah, we'll be done in about July. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
John's missed the last couple of days with all the Moffat talk. I'd be kind of curious what his thoughts were about Moffat and some of the comments Moffat's made. that we've
Want to
discussed on
want
this.
to rehash it, Connor, and explain it to John?
Yeah, Moffat was talking in the recent Doctor Who magazine, and he was like commenting on like a bit of Series 8, and then a bit of Last Christmas, and then what's to come in the future. And he said in terms of what's coming in the future, that the Doctor's going to be a lot funnier this year and a lot lighter. Like, it's not going to be like Series 8. And then he said that he told Peter that he's actually not the rude Doctor. He's not the what was the word he used? I can't remember, but he said he's not like the rude Doctor. He's kind of like just the Doctor that doesn't care. And then he came out and told us that he's going to be a rude Doctor, and it's like, yeah,
So he's kind of trying to like water down Capaldi's portrayal of being like more of a dark sort of, maybe a little bit more of an intense sort of Doctor, and very intimidable, and just trying to make him like a little bit of a lighter sort of Doctor.
yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And he was making reference to the fact that when Peter delivers a line, it's like a gale force. But when David and Matt deliver a line, it was like with a laughter and smile, and that he much prefers Matt and David's way of doing it.
Oh,
But that wouldn't.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for Capaldi though. He's a different sort of Doctor.
Right.
Moffat can't see that. Moffat's like a basic. He's a retard.
Well, that's like taking like Sylvester McCoy's Seventh Doctor, like what he became in the later seasons he was in. I would say people preferred the darker Doctor that he played, and kind of going backwards and retrofitting it to like him being the sort of the comical clown that he was in the first season. That really was terrible.
I prefer the dark jacket, the gory, and and the battlefield, and that season was just like one of my favorites with Sylvester McCoy. So.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and Capaldi, they need to keep that dark sort of thing with Capaldi, because we've had Matt Smith, that kind of like goofy, like like you need a darker sort of intense Doctor. Matt Smith was kind of like that goofy, flapping around his hands and everything, and David Tennant was kind of like the the little
With all
school,
the chicks, with all the chicks half the time.
the little school crush, that all these little chicks, the boy that they always dug and stuff. But come on, I mean, get like a different sort of characterization of the Doctor. Capaldi's not Matt Smith, and Capaldi's not David Tennant.
He's better than them.
Yeah, play on his strengths. Moffat is. I didn't get a chance to say it, by the way, at this point, so I guess I'll say it. But fuck you, Moffat. I need to jump on that too.
Oh.
He said in the interview as well that Peter kind of I forgot the word he used about. He said
He's
that
basically ripping him.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Just 1 minute. I'll find the word, because he said something about like it was an evident strength of Peter's that he was trying to point out. I'll just find the article quickly, because I can't remember.
He from 1 minute he's praising, like he's knocking Matt Smith and praising Capaldi. Then he's like, nah, Capaldi wasn't that good, in a way, and he's praising Matt Smith and David Tennant. Like, I don't understand him. I think that there's problems with those two, and he's probably trying to push him to leave, because he cares about General Louise Coleman staying, but he don't give a crap about. He didn't make a stink, Peter Capaldi should be a Doctor like 10 years or nothing. He never said that. So I think he wants him by Series 10.
He said that Peter magnifies anything that is dark. So that's an evident strength. But Moffat seems to not want to play to that strength, and instead wants to... Because Peter's good at comedy, but he's not good at scripted comedy.
But isn't this Moffat's fault for going too dark last season? And now he's like embarrassed by it, so now he's gonna.
But he didn't go too dark.
Well, he thinks he went too dark, because now he's gonna try to do everything lighthearted.
Then he's fucking weak, because that was nowhere near as dark as it could have been.
He's just.
I don't know what Mike and John thought, but I don't
I
think
think
that.
I think Moffat's a bad man. I don't like him. I don't trust him.
Give me a few minutes. Get talk amongst yourselves. 1 second.
I think he's like Brian Blair.
Yeah.
He's a punk. No, I mean, like, I always have had this feeling that, remember back when we saw the 50th anniversary, when they gave us, like, a little bit of a taste of Capaldi when he does the, No Sir, all 13 of them
Yeah,
whole
that's a
thing?
great scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you get this feeling like, wow, this is going to be like some real force behind this sort of doctor, and this guy's a bit intense and maybe a bit dark, and it's like other than Deep Breath and maybe a couple of episodes after that with inklings thereof, we haven't really had this doctor that we were promised in Capaldi. You know, it's kind of like when Pierce Brosnan did like the Bond series. It's kind of like he just was let down by the writing, and like we never really got what we expected from that actor portraying that character when he took over the role. I am starting to feel that way, kind of like with Pierce Brosnan in the Bond series.
Yeah.
With Capaldi, where it's just the writers are letting him down, and he's capable of so much more, and we're just not getting what we were sold.
Capaldi's best 3 episodes were Mummy on the Orient Express, Flatline, and Dark Water, because that's when I think that you could truly grasp the characterization of this particular doctor. Like, particularly in Dark Water, I rewatched it yesterday because it's my favorite episode of Series 8, and it's like proper dark. You know, it's darker than 99% of the series.
Did you like listen?
I did, yeah, but like in terms of like it, because in Dark Water it actually gave me the shivers when like Missy was there, and you know you could see Capaldi like, but when Missy kills Dr. Chang, and he's like, you know, your welcome droid has developed a fault and shit like that. And like she just turns around and kills Chang, you could tell that it's kind of like, you know, this is quite intense. Because, you know, even Capaldi sometimes looked like he couldn't handle the tension of it because of the facial expressions he were pulling. You know, but it was, you know, it felt a lot different from the other 11 episodes of the series, and I think that Dark Water was like the best episode so far for getting a grasp of what this doctor's about, and we haven't seen that. Like, he did nothing in Death in Heaven. It's all about Missy and Clara and Danny, and then it's like, you know, I don't know what you think, but yeah.
I think I need to go back and rewatch some of these episodes because, like, it got to a point to where about halfway through the series this past season, I got to where it was just kind of on in the background, and I was doing stuff on the computer and like looking up when it sounded like something of consequence was going on, because it just got to be where it just really kind of petered out. Well, you knew that, Joe, because you and I were talking pretty much on a daily basis, and I was like, I mean, it got to a point where I just was like, just tired of Doctor.
I know, right after the first couple episodes, you were like, I think it was like after what, the 5th episode or something.
Yeah, it was
like,
kind of like
it's going in the wrong direction. You told me.
Yeah, when you went off the air or dropped out there for like a minute or so, I was telling them that I just don't feel like we have got the Capaldi doctor that we were promised at the beginning of the season, and it just it seems like it just feels like a different show, even from the beginning of from Deep Breath to now. It just seems like such a different show, and I'm so fucking sick of Clara. I mean, I like Clara, she's alright, but for fuck's sake, can we move on past this character? Jesus Christ. Like, it's just like, get rid of her. I mean, fucking, I just want to have him go to some planet and, like, drop kick her the fuck out of the TARDIS and fucking...
Oh, shit.
I actually think that in Deep Breath, that's what that was like for a starter of of a series. That was one of the best
See,
we've ever had.
you and I disagree on that too, because I didn't like it.
I
Like,
know that you didn't like it for the
yeah,
exact reason that I like it, because it was
right,
darker.
right. I don't mind being darker, but I don't not for an opening regeneration thing. I was like, my biggest gripe with it was that one of my favorite stories, Girl in the Fireplace, right? I was really pissed that they portrayed the sister ship of the Madame de Pompadour, the USS, was it the SS Antoinette?
Yeah.
The whole point of the Girl in the Fireplace was that the ship, something went wrong and it needed the parts and it killed off the crew. And that's not they don't have like 20 ships in the fleet that does the same thing. It was an accident that basically they had to do that. So if you create a story like Stephen Moffat, okay, and the whole thing with the clockwork drawers and the damn the Pompadour, right? And you create a thing with the time windows and everything, right? That was just for that story. Like there's no other ships that do the same thing. Okay? So now what you do is you try to put a familiar element with a doc that I can't remember anything because it's regenerated. And it was like way more darker than what they actually were. And now you have a thing that doesn't make sense how it was an accident and then wound up in the beginning of time and they're trying to replace the parts for like, you know, billions of years or something. That's absurd too, because in billions of years, if you didn't come across the technology to get back to the future, then like something's wrong. And so it's like weird. So I had a problem with that episode because to me there was a lot of holes in it.
The
I don't know.
best scene in the
What do you think? What do you
episode.
think, John? I saw you.
Sorry.
Did you
I
see?
don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's a show. You can do whatever you want in it. I mean, you
No,
know.
but
I mean, there's no. It doesn't make sense. Doctor Who doesn't make sense. The Doctor doesn't make. I mean, in the whole thing, the whole show can get a little bit. But I can understand. You know, I haven't seen the show, so I can understand if there are some internal logic issues. But you know, I mean, just arguing. Okay, this one happened, and this.
like that should have
Anything
been
can happen.
different. That should have been a different.
Yeah.
It should have been a different race, a different threat, like
I,
something.
this is where I disagree as well, because I think it worked. The Clockwork Droids, they were far more sinister in this than they had been ever before. And like, in terms of like how it looked, the half-faced man, that was actually pretty damn good for a dark episode like this.
Right. But my
'Cause it,
problem was too his memory. Like I understand he's a different person, but even if he's a different, even if he has different emotions and everything, he still has his memories, and he still has memories of being in love with Madame de Pompadour. So how could you not know who the hell Madame de Pompadour is? But
that
yet you were
confusion actually helps the episode, because the scene where he abandons Clara, because he literally doesn't know what he's doing. He's like so confused. He's completely out of it, and he's like, you can see the hints of like his doctor in that, just that alone. And
right.
even though like he's just like literally regenerated, and you'll probably argue that by saying, you know, well he's just in like post regeneration confusion stage, you know, that's no indication of what he was like as a doctor, or what he's gonna be like as a doctor. But like, I actually think that like in Deep Breath, for example, the scene where the half-faced man says, you know, self-destruction and suicide is against my basic programming, and then Peter just grabs him, throws him against the side, and just says, "Well, murder's against mine," and it's like shit, you know. this is intense, and he'd actually be prepared to kill to save his friends, even though he's in this, stage of amnesia and confusion.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like, so what happened to the promise that we had with this doctor that we saw in Deep Breath? It's like he just got like neutered by Clara the rest of the season.
He just fizzled out a bit, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
became clear as bitch or something.
Like, not. Let me expand upon after he got his regeneration process complete. Okay, he didn't even recognize the descendants of Danny Pink. How could you not? And he can't even tell if Clara's young or old. I don't understand where, I understand he's like, oh, this is the way I always see you. That's baloney, because there's got to be something wrong there that he can't tell the difference between Danny Pink and like the guy is totally somebody different from him. He couldn't put one and one, two and two together. I mean,
Are you talking about the offhanded comments like, oh, well, Clara, you finally look like you've had a wash?
No, I'm talking about in Listen when he already encountered. Didn't he already encounter Danny Pink? Oh no. I'm talking about after Listen in Caretaker when he first meets Danny Pink, right?
Well, we've got to remember that he was in Listen. He was concussed for a majority of the episode.
But he saw that guy that's the descendant of Danny Pink. So how could you not distinguish their facial? They look exactly alike. So how could you not know that that's Danny Pink? Like he's coming from Danny Pink. Like I don't understand that.
I don't know, but in terms of like the offhanded comments, like Clara, you look like you've had a wash. You look older than I am. And shit like that when he said that was
sarcasm.
Rude. That was sarcasm, rude. Doctor, that is what Moffat promised us, and now he's coming and saying that he's not rude. Well, you can't erase everything in that series now. It's evidently there. We can make a case for Capaldi being a rude doctor, because that's how Moffat wrote him. He's evidently rude, and I don't know why Moffat's trying to deny that to pander to the Matt Smith fanboys out there, because I'm sick of that. I don't know why Moffat listens to fanboys of Matt Smith, but he doesn't listen to Peter's fans. Like, Peter's the hero now. Just let Matt Smith fucking go. Please, for the love of God. Because he's going to kill the show faster than anything. If he keeps, using this, template that was left by Matt fucking Smith. He has to be a goofy, funny doctor. How is he a changed person from regeneration to regeneration if he's the same as Matt Smith?
Well, yeah, and let's not forget William Hartnell was like this crotchety old bastard sort of doctor, He wasn't like this warm and fuzzy, personable sort of doctor, but he kind of mellowed out over a period of time, but he still was a bit crotchety and kind of set it in his ways. And obviously Capaldi's doctor is not quite at that sort of age level, but he's
Capaldi's
he's eccentric. Well, he's kind of got the eccentricities, but not quite like
right.
He's like he can still be like Colin Baker. He kind of fell into a groove at a certain point, but he kind of went through his little temperament and his kind of egotist sort of Sixth Doctor persona. Compare that to Peter Davison in this situation. Davison would be more like Matt Smith, and you would have Colin Baker, was very egocentric in his persona of the Doctor, whereas Davison was more like the big brother type. Colin Baker was more like the a little bit of a narcissist in his portrayal of the Doctor. But he kind of mellowed out a bit. So there's nothing wrong with Peter Capaldi being a little bit, a little intense, a little dark. Even Sylvester McCoy seemed to have his dark stages where it almost seemed like, that was the point of the storyline with his last season, But he kind of got a little dark. Like you weren't really sure. I mean, Ace didn't trust him a little bit in some of those stories, or kind of looked at him kind of, out of the corner of her eye, not really sure where he was coming from.
And it's like Moffat's perception of dark is clearly quite different from the rest of the world's population. Because since when is the Doctor abandoning Clara on the moon when it's about to disintegrate in any way dark? How is that dark? That's just him abandoning her. He's trying to make things dark that are not dark, I think. And when I say like, abandon this template of Matt Smith, I'm not bashing Matt Smith fanboys or, fans, I should say, to be more respectful. I'm just saying that Moffat seems to listen to them, that particular group of people, more than anything. Like, for example, if they complain that, like, this line was really offensive when it's actually not, coming from Peter, because that's something that Matt Smith wouldn't have said, it's like, like, he'd listen to that, and then he'd, like, completely abandon that way of writing, those kind of lines, because, he's scared of upsetting this particular little faction that might like him because Moffat made Matt's Doctor.
It's almost like I kind of get the feeling that like after Tennant's 10th Doctor, if we would have had Capaldi, it would have been like more of a transition, and more so than Matt Smith into Capaldi.
Yeah.
With the circumstances of which the 10th Doctor, in like Waters of Mars, for example, kind of carrying over a little bit of that kind of, angst and kind of, a little bit more guarded, a little bit more kind of like I'm operating on my own, even though I do have a companion I'm traveling with. He's kind of like a little bit more like self-respective with things.
Yeah. I think that, like, we've got a few new writers this year as well. Well, not so much new, but people that are like, first time writing for Capaldi, like Toby Whithouse. It'll be interesting to see how they portray him. Being long time writers of Doctor Who, but this being the first time that they've wrote for Capaldi that's not in his first series. Like, they've finally got a grasp of who his character should be from, the previous 13 episodes we've had with him. I hope that like when Moffat says that he's trying to write Capaldi funnier, it's only in his episodes, and he's not like going through everyone's scripts and kind of like scribbling out lines that might in any way show Capaldi to be dark and mysterious and intense.
Yeah.
But I think that Moffat is like, he'd do that to get his own way. Because Moffat's a dick.
Well, Tom Baker had like the humor, but he also got like deadly serious. And when he did, like he was really brilliant at transitioning within moments from being kind of the Doctor that you kind of have a little bit of a sense of humor with, and he would just get real stern and kind of look and deliver a line, and you would go, okay, well he's this guy's really serious. He's got like there's a little bit of dark in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom Baker was really good at that, I think, like, and he had some, particularly during the Hinchcliffe era, which was like arguably the best of Who altogether, like with Terror of the Zygons and Deadly Assassin and stuff like that. It's like he was great during that, and I think that like Capaldi needs to be a bit like that, but maybe just a tiny bit more, mysterious and darker, and like be like that the whole time. Like have humor in there, but don't like overdo it because of the sake of satisfying a small group of, the fandom who like Matt Smith.
Yeah. And those times, honestly, like I feel when Matt Smith got serious, I really didn't take it like that seriously. He really didn't sell it too well.
Yeah, he can't do serious. I don't think he could do serious, to be honest. But
He just didn't come off in those episodes where he tried to get really stiff with people and you know doing the whole thing about oh yeah, come on, bring it on, I'll take you on sort of thing. It's kind of like it really didn't. There was no threat there. It really seemed. I mean,
yeah,
maybe that was the point. It is people underestimated him because of his age, but it didn't really work for me. I'm not like the biggest Matt Smith fan. I mean, I enjoyed watching his episodes, but I like the Doctor being like a little bit more like you take him seriously as a threat when he needs to be a threat and the situation dictates it. I didn't really get that from Matt Smith.
mm,
Like Peter Davison. I mean, he like he just seemed to be wanting to kind of like have everyone like him. His doctor. He was kind of like the older brother that everyone kind of respected, but he wasn't good at being really stiff with things and staunch when he needed to be.
but yeah,
Okay.
just hoping that, like, in terms of writing this year, that it's only Moffat that really tries to write Capaldi as funny, and like, that Toby Whithouse and Catherine Tregenna and whoever writes for Series 9, they don't follow the same kind of rule. And I hope that Moffat isn't as underhanded to go through everyone's scripts and like, edit everything because Moffat because Capaldi's not been written like Matt Smith. But I do think he's capable of that because it's Moffat. And he's a bit of a control freak.
Yeah, seems to be.
I just hope that kind of like, the writers stand up to him and have that creative control over what they write.
What do you mean they can't? If they do, they'll fire him. It's his vision. It's his vision for the show. It's his way or the highway until he quits or is fired. So that's it. Tough luck. I mean,
John
really.
Nathan Moffat.
Yeah, exactly.
We
He's
need
got
more
a tough job.
we need more question mark sweaters.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go back to that, like where the executive producer or the showrunner, as they now call them, like doesn't write for the series. They just get like more experienced writers to write for the series, and then just leave them to do the paperwork and shit. Because John Nathan Turner, thank God, never wrote an episode.
Well, what are your thoughts, Joe?
John Nathan Turner was a piece of crap.
Yeah,
Damn.
he was a gimp.
And Tom Baker should have stayed on. That was bullshit, too. Not happy with that whole situation. Not happy with Colin Baker's attire. A lot of things with John Nathan Turner I wasn't happy with.
Yeah.
So how long was Tom Baker supposed to stay on?
I mean, he stayed on a long time, but the only reason he left was because John Nathan Turner, I felt.
Nathan Turner wanted him out before the end of the year that he started, like, with Doctor Who. He like wanted him gone as quickly as possible. But like, yeah, that like even the story of how John Nathan Turner cast Colin Baker is one of the weirdest ever. It's like he met him at a garden party, and he had one conversation with him, and he was like, "Oh, this is the Doctor," and it's like, yeah, okay. And what drugs were you on? What were you smoking, John Nathan Turner? Answer me
Yeah,
that from the grave.
More Hawaiian shirts.
There you go. Deviance.
Deviance.
I think they should cast Andrew Garfield as the Doctor
Oh no.
and have him transform from Spider-Man into the Doctor.
They need
All
that.
right. All right. I think that's it for today. So tomorrow, I think we're going to be doing the Real Walking Cast, and we'll probably do the Everything Show. All right,
Yeah.
guys.
When are we doing Ambassadors of Death?
We'll probably do it this week.
Okay.
All right, maybe before Wednesday. All right, guys. Take care. Bye for now.